Chapter 778. Amazing Limit. The Tianhai pirates invaded Tianhai City, which was a big taboo. The East China Sea District had already taken action, and without further ado, they directly bombed many port bases of the Tianhai pirates with missiles. There were hundreds of ships sunk, and the Tianhai pirates suffered heavy casualties. This was a warning, expressing the attitude of the 6 major districts of the entire Huashu Kingdom. However, it is still a bit difficult to completely wipe them out. Zhang also said frankly. They don't have a fixed base, and they are crisscrossing the Starry Sea, where there are many islands and complex terrain. Our navy is like a dragon swimming in the ocean, but it is not convenient to go deep into that kind of terrain. If we invest too much manpower, it will waste too many resources and have no value. So we just give a warning and leave it at that. The end of the world is coming, and the world is in turmoil. The Navy needs to be wary of a lot. For example, the new Navy in areas such as Neon and the Colombian Navy stationed in the Neon Islands. In order to wipe out a group of pirates composed of a motley crowd, investing a lot of resources is a thankless task. In addition, Tianhai City did not suffer much loss from the pirates due to Zhang Yi's advanced preparation. This matter can only be reduced to a small matter. Zhang Yi frowned with some worry. Will Tianhai City be retaliated by them in the future? Canute and others died at the hands of Zhang Yi. Tianhai City is close to the sea, so Zhang Yi naturally has such worries. Zhang immediately said, "Don't worry, we will definitely give Tianhai City the greatest protection." Zhang Yi's mouth twisted. Well, can you believe this? But think about it carefully. Tianhai City's current defense force is indeed too weak. If a large force really attacks, it still needs Blizzard City to support it. So Zhang Yi asked Zhang for a batch of heavy firearms, and he wanted to deploy them near Chiryu Harbor. Zhang readily agreed, and agreed to give Zhang Yi a batch of coastal defense artillery. Zhang Yi can handle the problem of ammunition himself. After chatting for a while, someone came to find Zhang soon. Zhang Yi knew that Zhang was very busy in recent days, so he said goodbye and left. Zhang sent Zhang Yi away and looked at his back as he walked away, feeling inexplicably emotional. How can I make someone who doesn't like power and doesn't lack material things work for me? Could it be that he likes women the most? Zhang secretly speculated. After Zhang Yi left, a woman came to Zhang's office. It was Li Lingxue, the director and chief expert of the scientific research department. She was wearing a white coat, thick black-framed glasses, and her long hair was casually tied up with a carbon pen. She was a typical female researcher. Zhu Shuai, the latest evaluation report is out. She put a report on Zhang's desk. Zhang picked it up and saw that it was Zhang Yi's information. This report was the data obtained by the scientific research department based on Zhang Yi's performance. As Zhang Yi expected, according to the latest evaluation of the Blizzard City Scientific Research Department, his ability index was raised to 9,600 points, far exceeding the average value of the captain level. 9,600. Isn't that close to the standard of Ypsilon? Zhang widened his eyes. Li Lingxue's voice was flat. According to the definition, it is true. And I also found a very interesting phenomenon. Generally speaking, after the captain level ability index reaches 9,000 points, it is almost impossible to improve through co-eating. So every 100-point increase will show a huge difference in strength. But Zhang Yi does not meet this requirement. Li Lingxue raised her glasses. When he was fighting in Tianhai City, his ability index was still around 9,200 points. But after he absorbed the essence of Fengguangyu and Jin, Takeuchi Mayumi and Canute, his ability index increased by 400 points in one breath. Zhang looked at her. What does this mean? Li Lingxue said, "This means that he is not the same as other captain level." A light flashed in her eyes. That was the feeling of discovering an interesting research object. My conclusion is that he is not a Delta-level mutant. He is an Ypsilon or even higher. At least 9,200 points is not his upper limit. 9,600 points is definitely not. Zhang's eyes widened. He was speechless for a long time, and his body was shaking with excitement. You mean, we in Jiangnan District will also have an Ypsilon-level mutant? We in Jiangnan District will have our own Ypsilon. He knew the concept of Ypsilon-level mutants too well. The world standard for dividing the levels of mutants, the boundary between Ypsilon and Delta, is one person, one city. In other words, an Ypsilon-level mutant has enough power to destroy a city of average size. Simply put, it is a humanoid H-type warrior. Li Lingxue said. However, we are only speculating at the moment and cannot confirm this. And we don't know how to help him improve his strength. After all, the miracle of the one in Shengjing is difficult to replicate. Zhu Zheng pondered for a long time, thinking about many things in his heart. If Zhang Yi can successfully possess the power of Ypsilon level, it will definitely be a good thing for the Jiangnan region. But will it be a good thing for him? He can't control an alien who is too powerful. A deep color flashed in Zhu Zheng's eyes. He thought to himself, I have to think of a way to make Zhang Yi my man. Only in this way can I settle down. After Zhang Yi left Zhu Zheng's office, he went to the weapons warehouse to collect a large number of military supplies. This time, he got 1 billion mission points, which was enough for him to purchase a large number of special weapons and equipment. This includes equipping everyone in the family with a set of SLDS Type 2 black battle suits, and a large number of coastal defense artillery purchased for the Chaoyu harbor base. After the weapons and equipment were in hand, he went to the Deng family again and said goodbye to Deng Yuanhua and Deng Shintong. At the same time, he asked about the evolution of aliens. He wanted to help Uncle Yu, Fatty Su, and others improve their strength. Deng Yuanhua was particularly enthusiastic about Zhang Yi. He invited Zhang Yi to the tea house and entertained Zhang Yi with Deng Shintong. After hearing Zhang Yi's request, Deng Yuanhua pondered for a long time before slowly saying, Liang Yu's condition cannot be replicated. Not everyone has such an excellent physique and strong willpower as her, and this method is only effective for people above the Delta level. But he immediately gave another plan. However, I can help them improve their strength to the maximum extent within the range of their ability level. Zhang Yi's eyes lit up, and then he immediately regained his composure. What do I need to do? If you can help, Zhang Yi will definitely reward you handsomely in the future. Deng Yuanhua smiled faintly. This is just a piece of cake. It's difficult for outsiders, but you're a friend of our Deng family, so don't talk about thinking or not. Chapter 779 Preparing for a Sea Trip. Deng Yuanhua explained their methods to Zhang Yi. If they were low-level mutants, the way to improve their strength was very simple, which was to help them replenish their supernatural powers. Although they could not break through their own genetic limitations and reach a higher supernatural level, they could also reach the upper limit of their current level. Since the supernatural levels of Uncle Yu, Fatty Su, and others were not high, it was not difficult to improve their strength. In order to make friends with Zhang Yi, Deng Yuanhua expressed his willingness to help Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi knew that this friendship would definitely require him to repay it in other ways in the future. However, he still readily agreed. In addition, Deng Yuanhua also told Zhang Yi how to use the X compound he had given him before. For Zhang Yi now, it is no longer of much use, but it can be used directly on Uncle Yu. He has a strong self-healing ability and can withstand the destruction of the transformed body. Deng Yuanhua said with a sly smile. Zhang Yi couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart. If he had resisted the temptation and used it, he would have suffered some physical pain. After saying goodbye to Deng Yuanhua and Deng Shintong, Zhang Yi took Yang Xinxin and Huahua away from Blizzard City. Before leaving, the members of the Tengu squad came to see him off. Except for Bailey Chongqing, who didn't come because of his serious injuries and needed to recuperate, everyone else arrived. Captain, when will you come back? Yi couldn't help but ask worriedly. Once Zhang Yi left, he would be in Tianhai City in the future, and he would obey orders but not announcements. He is not like other captains who would obey the orders of the top leaders. If Zhu Zheng wants him to do something in the future, he must appease him and discuss it with him. This also means that the Tengu squad may not have too many tasks in the future. Zhang Yi glanced at Yi, Lu Yinghao, and Xue Miao and smiled lightly. Deng Shintong is back now, and you should also return to your team. I will talk to Zhu Shuai about this matter. But Yi said, I don't want to go back. Boss, I want to follow you. Xue Miao and Lu Yinghao also expressed the same attitude without hesitation. Me too. After seeing Zhang Yi's strength, they naturally didn't want to miss this opportunity to hug thighs. Zhang Yi thought for a moment and said calmly, "It's up to you. If you want to stay, stay." He was a casual person and would not have much time to manage them in the future. This Tengu team, they come and go freely. Zhang Yi will never restrict them. Anyway, I don't know when the next mission will come. Soon, Zhang Yi took the Blizzard City special train back to Tianhai City. Walking out of the Xiamayashan subway station, looking at the snowy world in front of him, breathing the cold air, Zhang Yi felt very comfortable. Finally, I can have a good rest for a while, he said with emotion. Since the landing of Eclipse Moon, the entire Jiangnan region has been turned upside down. Not only does it involve foreign wanderers, but the most troublesome is the problem within Blizzard City. Zhang Yi was passively involved and had constant trouble. It's time to enjoy a good life. Zhang Yi and Yang Xinxin returned home and were immediately welcomed by everyone. Zhou Kuer and Yang Xia rushed over excitedly and gave Zhang Yi a warm and full bear hug. "Zhang Yi, you're finally back. Can you stay at home now? You've worked so hard in the past 2 months." Yang Xia leaned close to Zhang Yi's ear and said in a warm tone, "Should you eat first, take a shower first, or me?" Zhang Yi sighed helplessly. "I just came back, and I want to have a good rest." Yang Xia's face was a little disappointed. Zhang Yi took off his coat and threw it to Zhou Kuer. "I'll take a shower first. Who can help me wipe my back?" Yang Xia's eyes lit up. She suddenly remembered that when she first met Zhang Yi, she was also in the bathroom. So, someone helped Zhang Yi wipe his back. After a long, long time, the night was deep. It was rare that it didn't continue to snow today. The sky was actually clean, and the stars could be vaguely seen. Zhang Yi lay on the bed with his hands behind his head, slowly thinking about everything that had happened in the last half a year. In the past 6 months, everything was like a dream. He and everyone around him were working hard to survive. But this feeling did not disgust him. At least his life was getting better and better, unlike when he was working in the past, spending every day in a daze. Perhaps everyone is looking forward to the end of the world in their hearts. Zhang Yi murmured. This is a quote from 1Q84, a work by Haruki Murakami, one of his favorite writers. Zhang Yi has always liked it very much. Zhou Kuer put her hand on his chest. The hand that performed the operation was very delicate, white and slender, with light pink nails. "Why do you suddenly start to feel these emotions?" She smiled, asked. On the other side, Yang Xia muttered, "I guess you must be tired. Have a good rest." She looked at Zhang Yi's profile and reached out to touch it with some heartache. "Don't think about anything. It's good like this. We are together and live happily." As for the end of the world, they have long since gotten rid of the initial panic. Nowadays, everyone lives in such a doomsday fortress. A life without worries about food and clothing. There is no need to be busy for life like in the past. Yang Xia does not need to pretend to be a flawless goddess in front of others. Zhou Kuer does not need to ask the leader for a position, let alone busy performing surgery every day. Everyone is doing what they like to do, which was unimaginable in the past. Zhang Yi looked at Zhou Kuer, then at Yang Xia, and suddenly wanted to go out for a while. They need to relax too much. Of course, there are many ways to relax, but occasionally you also need to relax your mind, not just relax your body like now. Let's go out to sea for a while. Chunjingguan has a large icebreaker. We can only play in the offshore area, fishing or something. When the two women heard this, their eyes lit up with excitement. Really? Zhang Yi nodded. Of course it's true. There is nothing to play on land. It's also nice to go out to sea to see the scenery of the Arctic Ocean. Then we will find Xinjingguan and ask him to strengthen the coastal defense. Within the territory of Jiangnan District, the coastline is not long. There are only 5 cities, and Tianhai City is the most prosperous. With the strength of Huashu country, plus the deterrent power of the annihilation of the Eclipse Moon and Tianlong pirates' fleets, it is unlikely that there will be blind foreign organizations to invade. but it is better to prevent trouble before it happens. He asked Zhu Zheng for a lot of heavy weapons for coastal defense. Chapter 780. The Mystery of the Deep Sea. The next day, Zhang Yi slept until after 10 in the morning before getting up. Zhou Qier and Yang Xia were quite tired yesterday, so they had not woken up yet. He was wearing pajamas, washed lazily, and went downstairs in slippers. In the living room, the sound of electronic games could be heard. Zhang Yi looked up from the stairs and saw Fatty Sue with 2 dark circles under his eyes, rubbing the handle with full concentration. "Aren't you afraid of sudden death like this?" Zhang Yi asked while leaning on the railing. Fatty Sue was startled when he heard Zhang Yi's voice, and soon he made a pig-killing cry. "Ah, ah, ah. Dead again, dead again." Zhang Yi walked over and saw that Fatty Sue was playing soul-like games to torture himself again. "Make me a cup of coffee." Zhang Yi kicked him and sat down on the soft sofa. Fatty Sue could only go over and make coffee for Zhang Yi. Not long after, other people in the family also appeared in the living room one after another. Liang Yi got up the earliest. When Zhang Yi got up, she had finished her rehabilitation exercises. Because she is a reinforcement-type mutant, she has a strong self-healing ability, and Zhou Kuter set her bones, so Liang Yi recovered quickly. After everyone arrived, Zhang Yi talked about future plans. The first one is to let them go to Blizzard City and accept the transformation of Deng's group. Uncle Yu is naturally very eager about this. He is eager to make himself stronger and then contribute to the team. Fatty Sue is a little scared, fearing that he will be turned into a monster by Deng's technology. Will they cut off my arm and install a mechanical prosthesis? Just like in the Cyberpunk game. Maybe they will even install a chip in my brain. Fatty Sue felt cold all over when he thought about it. Zhang Yi rolled his eyes at him unhappily. "You are talking about robots. How can today's robots be as useful as mutants? The mechanical technology in 2051 has not yet developed to that level. Robots are prone to malfunction in ultra-low temperature environments, and their endurance is not strong enough. To put it bluntly, this is an era of great mutation, and superpowers have shown stronger capabilities than contemporary technology in many fields. However, science and technology are also developing. Perhaps in the near future, the combination of technology and supernatural powers will give birth to more brilliant sparks." Hearing this, Yang Xia asked curiously, "Do I need to go too? After all, my ability is auxiliary." Zhang Yi smiled and pinched her white and tender little hand. His eyes fell on the endless snowfield. "You don't have to go. The transformation experiment of Deng's group is simple and crude, and ordinary people can't bear it at all. Zhou Qier, Yang Xia, and Yang Xinxin are not within Zhang Yi's consideration. What's more, their abilities are all special. Zhang Yi will not give Deng's group a chance to study them." The final result of the discussion was to let Uncle Yu and Fatty Sue go to Blizzard City to accept the experiments and professional training of Deng's group. Zhang Yi, on the other hand, took the women in his family to Chaoyu Harbor. First, to help Chen Jingguan set up defenses, and second, to get an icebreaker to go out to sea. Uncle Yu had no objection. Although Fatty Sue muttered that he also wanted to go out to play, his opinion was directly rejected by Zhang Yi. "You go to Blizzard City, and I will ask the Deng family to arrange a few young and beautiful girls for you as your companions." Zhang Yi's words made Fatty Sue's eyes light up immediately, and he nodded his head in agreement. So the two things were decided happily. Everyone played happily together for 2 days, and Zhang Yi sent Fatty Sue and Uncle Yu on the special train to Blizzard City. He brought the women in his family to Chaoyu Port. After the last battle, this place was also beaten to pieces. Most of the entire port was abandoned, and many containers turned into iron sheets and flew everywhere. Fortunately, the underground shelter was not affected, and the people here can still live well. When Zhang Yi and his friends came here by snowmobile, thousands of people at the port were busy cleaning the battlefield. Chen Jingguan brought people to greet Zhang Yi. "Boss, you are here." Chen Jingguan saw the women behind Zhang Yi at a glance. It's been more than half a year, and it's rare to come out for a trip, so they all took out their best clothes. Each of them was wearing the most beautiful furs, and their makeup was so delicate that they looked like they were going to participate in the Miss World pageant. This kind of exquisite dress made the women in the Chaoyu base very envious. I came to see you. By the way, I want to ask for a few skilled crew members and the icebreaker Xiaoyao. I plan to go out to sea for a few days. When Chen Jingguan heard that Zhang Yi was going out to sea, his expression suddenly became hesitant. Boss, if you're going to go out to sea, I don't know if I should say something. Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows. What's wrong? Chen Jingguan said, if you just want to play around the near sea, it's okay, but I don't recommend you to go into the deep sea area. Because the ocean is more terrifying than the land now. Zhang Yi narrowed his eyes. You mean mutant creatures? The ocean accounts for 70% of the planet, and the land accounts for only 30%. Moreover, the ocean is a vertical space, and the species of creatures in it have not been figured out by humans until now. The era of great mutation has come, and no one knows what strange beasts have appeared in the ocean. If you go out to sea, you may encounter them. Zhang Yi asked curiously, have you encountered them before? Chen Jingguan nodded honestly. I have, and I lost 2 ships. There are great terrors in the ocean. Those sea monsters that have become huge after mutation can easily overturn a steel ship of tens of thousands of tons. Later, when we sailed, we had to avoid the seas where monsters appeared. That's why I told you this, hoping that you can be careful. Zhang Yi couldn't help but think of Canute, the captain of the 4th team of the Tianhai pirates. His ability is to transform into a huge blue shark. If their battlefield was not on land, but on the sea, I'm afraid it would not be so easy for the members of the Tengu team to deal with him. I know, can I just avoid the deep sea? Now, as long as he doesn't encounter a particularly powerful monster, he can still deal with it with his ability. Chen Jingguan nodded. Then I will arrange it for you right away. Zhang Yi said, there is no rush for this. Take me to see your coastal defense first. The last battle is a lesson. Facing the enemy from the sea, you don't even have the slightest way to fight back. This must never happen again in the future. Chen Jingguan scratched his head, his face a little strange. He thought to himself, if you hadn't killed so many people, we might not be able to defend against pirates now. Zhang Yi gave an order, and Chen Jingguan naturally followed it. So he took Zhang Yi and the women in the shelter along the beach, like a tour guide. Zhang Yi looked very carefully checking for deficiencies and making sure that there would be no problems with the coastal defense. However, Zhou Kuer and the others were very happy and didn't care about Zhang Yi's affairs at all. They took cameras and took selfies at the beach facing the huge frozen sea. Under the gray sky, the huge sea surface was frozen into a piece, and this picture was very shocking. This video ends here. Please support me by subscribing to this channel, dear viewers. Thanks.